that are going to be used for our overall rating. Keep in mind, the overall rating is not only those specific line items of the key performance indicators, but it's also how well did you achieve your goals, what type of professional development did you participate in, what type of contribution did you make to your department and to the university. So this, you can see there's 4 ratings: leading performance, fully successful performance, building performance, and not meeting expectations. Now, leading performance is really those people and those employees who are the true top performers in a particular area. You know, most of the time you say, well, who's the top performer in your area? And you probably know, because they're the people that you tap on to train other people, to serve as mentors, to serve on councils, to provide new and unique services. So there's no forced rankings or anything like that. We're just trying to make it a little bit clearer for everyone to understand where they have some opportunity and where they are succeeding. So for 2019, you may have already received your interim performance review, and it's a very simple process. It's just a point for feedback. So for this year, in order to get everybody trained and ready for that evaluation that's going to happen next spring, we're going to be realigning our timing. So the interim performance review does not have a rating, but rather seeks to have some feedback and conversation and reset goals. Because right now, some of you might not have received an evaluation in 18 months. Some of you might have received an evaluation last December. So we're trying to get everybody on that same cycle. So just to reevaluate your goals. Again, if you haven't gotten your interim evaluation yet from your supervisor, it's 4 simple questions, very simple open boxes. Again, no ratings to worry about this year. So it's just the simple answer to these questions. How is the employee progressing on key performance indicators? And that's the list of what we normally rate on there. How is the employee progressing on professional growth and development? How is the employee progressing on established goals, and what new goals do you want to establish for next year? What accomplishments or challenges can be noted? What are recommended solutions? It's really just a vehicle for a conversation for your supervisor and the employee to have some feedback. Any questions on this process? So I just wanted to give you a quick update on the compensation study that's going on. I've been kind of talking about this throughout the year. Want to give you an update. So Simpson Consulting was determined to be our consulting partner for our compensation study. They're the ones that are going to crunch all the numbers for us and help us figure out some of our new salary structures and compensation philosophy. Thank you to those on staff council, April, who was on our compensation selection committee, as well as the team that on April 8th met with Simpsons to give some feedback about how they think about the compensation and what are some of our employee value propositions, what are some things that people really like, and of course, what are our areas of opportunity. So we should have more information coming up. The anticipated end of the study is August of 2019, and then once an implementation plan has been decided, we'll be sharing that in various forums. Just to be clear about what our goals are for the compensation study. So the study isn't implementation. The study helps inform implementation. So we're asking them to help us with 3 specific things. Help us to create a compensation philosophy, which will drive how we think about pay going forward, conduct tasks for both staff and faculty, and then make recommendations around implementation. From that information, then we will work with our leadership teams and with various stakeholders throughout the campus to think about how we want to implement those ideas going forward. Any questions about these topics or any HR related topics? You do, just feel free to give me a call.
So it's also custom to have an open forum as part of our larger staff sessions. And I'm going to open up the floor for any questions, comments, areas of concern to anyone here in the audience. Just go ahead and raise your hand. I'll call on it. So I wanted to give a quick update from the chair on a couple of things that we've been working on. Most of note, I want to congratulate and thank our Membership Governance and Finance Committee for running a wonderful election process this past year. I know how much goes into it, and thank you for the work that the committee's done. I'd also like to recognize our incoming staff council members. Being part of staff council is important. You take time out of your personal life, your work life to dedicate to our staff community. So if you are a new member of staff council, please stand and be recognized. So a couple other things that we've been working on. In earlier May, Eddie, Brendan, and I sat down and talked through some concerns that were brought to us from our administrative assistant professional colleagues. And in light of some of the conversations we've had, both in that meeting and then outside that meeting, Staff Council decided to create an ad hoc committee focusing on the experience that our administrative assistant professionals are having, both on the academic and on the administrative side. So Brenda Bailey and Lauren Frazier will be co-chairing this ad hoc committee. It will start in earnest in the fall. They will be armed with plenty of data, both our great colleges information, our internal surveys from staff council from last fiscal year and the current fiscal year. And then they will really work to focus on assessing the current climate for our administrative assistants, finding ways that our new administrative assistants can fully integrate within the community. Brenda had talked about her experience and having that cohort when they came in, they felt really close together, but some of the others not as much. And then developing methods to better recognize the achievements and contributions for our colleagues, something I think is very, very important. So I think Brenda and Lauren for taking on that task. We also have a couple more people who are serving in larger capacities on university campus-wide roles and committees. Katie Jansen is participating in the food service contract committee. I believe that's just started to meet. Angela Kruger is going to serve on the, who's our new vice chair for diversity, equity, and inclusion. She'll be on the search committee for the new vice president for inclusive excellence. Sala Rodesno is and has been on the chief financial officer search. And then April Serga, as previously mentioned, is serving on the HR compensation committee. I think it's wonderful that we continually have a voice at these tables to provide. I know we have staff who serve in their own capacity on these search committees, but I think it's really important to make sure that the larger staff, the staff community, has a voice at the table in these areas, and that's something that I think our current staff councils work very hard to do. So, does anyone have any questions on those updates? I'd like to now call John Ambrose, who is Vice Chair for Communication and Assessment.
Thanks, Eric. I first want to begin by apologizing. Due to some technical difficulties, the live stream didn't get up and running until just about 10 minutes ago. Rest assured that the slides and the video will be shared to those staff members who weren't able to be here in person so that they can see anything that was missed. So those will be shared and posted shortly after the meeting is over. To begin, I want to really thank Brenda Bailey, Dan Patopoulos, and Allison Goldhammer, who are the at-large members on this committee, for all the work that they've done this year. The assessment survey and raffle entry links that you all should have received, those will remain active through Friday, May 31st, so next Friday. If you have not yet completed the survey, please consider doing it. It only takes about 10-15 minutes. Feedback is really important and a chance to make your voice heard Additional reminder will be going out next Wednesday with the link. Your responses and feedback are used. They're aggregated and they're compiled in our Staff Council's annual assessment report. And that report is published widely. The staff community will see it when it is published in August. And that is also shared with the senior leadership team. So things that you say, recommendations you make, feedback you give is important, and it does cause staff council to think about what its priorities are going to be for the upcoming academic year. So rest assured that it is used. Okay, so I said that already. Just a quick reminder, this committee, the Communication and Assessment Committee, will become the Communication Committee effective June 1st. As responsibility for staff council assessment will transition to the chair-elect, in this year's case, Brendan Dolan. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I'd like to now call Lisa Ramsey to speak to community building.
Thanks, Eric. As John did, I want to say thanks to my committee, but I have to go like this because I can't really see it. So I want to say a special thank you to James Burrows, Mike Merrick, and Logan Bass for their assistance with the committee. They are the lifeblood of the committee. So James is coming back. The other two gentlemen are rolling off. So special thanks to all three for all of their work this year. While we're also saying thank you, I want to highlight and thank the First Friday Coffee Hour locations that we use this year. And that includes the Bowler College, College of Arts and Sciences, Career Services, CSDI, the Math Department, and Alumni Office. So we're also in the lobby of Kulas, but I'm not sure anyone has jurisdiction of that. But, so thank you, sincere thank you to all those departments for providing your space for us to use for those First Friday Coffee Hours. In terms of, since our last meeting, we had two really successful First Friday Coffee Hours in April and May, and then, of course, backed by a popular demand, the Barrio Food Truck in April was really successful with 180 people, and the rain held off, so that was great. So thanks to all, again, who supported all the events over the year. With all you attending, it really is, we can't really do our job. I want to just introduce the Community Building and Networking Committee for the upcoming year. I'm happy to have James back on our team. And then we are welcoming Trent Maverick and Pam Zingara to our team. So we'll be really excited. We already met once to kick everything off because we're overachievers. And also a couple of us are 10 months, so we're just trying to be efficient. And I wanted to just announce a save the date coming. It'll be here before you know it, I guess. We're doing a kickoff picnic this year. So before the craziness starts, well, some of the craziness will already be on campus with Res Life, and the athletes. But on Wednesday, August 21st, 12 to 1 in Keller, again, cross your fingers with weather, we're gonna have a picnic. So we're really excited about that. So save the date for that and have a great summer. As always, if you have any suggestions or for events, please fill out the survey first and foremost. But if you have other things, just please email any of us. Thanks.
But will there be carnival rides?
At the picnic,
Yes.
That is a no.
I call on Brendan Dolan, just give an update for membership governance.
Okay, hello everyone. Good afternoon. I'm going to let you know that this will fall because my master's program didn't include hitting this to my chest. I apologize. But I just want to give a couple of updates for membership governance and finance. Been a very busy year, largely because the election process was very highly engaged in. So I wanted to first say thanks to the entire staff community for participation. It was very, very well. Our vote counts were the highest we've had, at least in the time that I've been in my role. So I just wanted to congratulate all of us for getting that message out. And thank you to all those that participated and nominated themselves and others volunteer as tribute. I appreciate it. We're in the process of doing our final budget review for this year. And one of the things you see a little later down the slide is that really we built out the next 3-year budget. So we finished that at the start of this year when staff council was founded. It came with a 3-year plan for a budget, and after review, we identified some of the areas that we want to continue to expand, such as our programmatic events for staff, but also our employee resource groups, and how do we sustain these initiatives. So having a commitment for 3 years, I think solidifies for most of us that we're in good fiscal shape as we move forward as an organization. We are meeting, and actually our membership, I do want to thank our committee members for all their work, and Amy will be taking over as vice chair next year. So Amy has already begun the process of developing all the bylaws that she plans to introduce at the first meeting. So we have many things that were wonderful feedback that we got through our process. So if you have things as you look at the Constitution or bylaws, or some of these things like ad hoc committees, if there are things that you're interested in, any member of staff can put forward or ask staff council to review a bylaw or change something related to our governance structure. So please feel free to do that if there are especially our areas of representation that you think have not been followed through with our mission and what we're charged to accomplish. So, and lastly, I just want to say a word of gratitude to those committee members. We meet frequently. We look at numbers. It's very exciting work. We stare at the Constitution, and so we go cross-eyed. So I'm very grateful for everything they did.
I'll call Melanie Moss, who will give a report for mission items.
Good afternoon, everybody. My committee members, I don't think any of them are here this afternoon, but I would like to give a thanks to John Brodigan, Brandon Manzak, and April Skirka for their time on our committee this year. Randy and April will be rolling off, and I would like to welcome Jarrell Sasan and Lou Genovese to our committee this year, so we're excited to get started on that stuff. So thank you, Lisa, for making me look bad. We have not met yet, but we will this summer. So we had a couple of listening sessions this year, one held in March for supervisors, and then one was held last November for non-supervisors. So not a huge turnout. If you haven't had the opportunity to be involved with that, I really highly suggest it, because as John said, they really use that information going forward to making decisions. So our project this summer is to be compiling all of that information, and then we will be presenting it to the communication committee. So let's see, the Campus Colleague Program. So the Campus Colleague Program was originally managed by HR, and then the M&A committee took it over. However, we feel that it's better suited back at HR with strong support from staff council. So that's going to free up our committee to come up with other ideas of things to do. So we're definitely going to do the scavenger hunt again this year, and hopefully some other fun things. Thank you all very much.
And Eddie Curion will speak about ERGs, or employee resource groups.
Good afternoon, everybody. The employee resource groups we're completing its second year in existence on campus. And I just wanted to take some time to highlight just a few things, maybe some updates from our last meeting. This year, we maintained 6 ERGs. As you may remember from last year, we did put the spiritual diversity ERG on hiatus to take a look. It was really important for us to really build ERGs around particular identity groups, so it was important for us to have that process of learning. We did add one this year, which is our Working Parents and Guardian ERG, which has begun in earnest, and really excited for folks who have come out just to support each other. A couple of highlights from this particular year include more robust activities and community building efforts by the leaders for their respective communities. Some examples of things that we've seen has been a stronger relationship and engagement by our human resource colleagues to be great resources to the ERGs concerning policies, practices, procedures, in order to better support members of each of the ERGs and those like them on this campus. So our gratitude goes out to Jen Rick and her staff for their willingness to support the ERGs in this particular way. We've also seen opportunities to engage students with identities, particularly our staff of color ERG. There was an event 3 weeks ago where we invited students of color as an opportunity for visibility, as well as potential opportunities for mentorship and continuing to support our students, given their own identities as staff. We've also seen increased participation by our faculty colleagues in our ERGs. We made the pretty conscious decision at the end of last year to say that our ERGs were created by staff council, but certainly would not turn away any of our faculty colleagues who are looking for community. They have different experiences than ours as faculty, but certainly they're also employees at the university, and building community we felt was an incredibly important piece. That's been really nice. This particular year, I've also been taking time myself to connect with colleagues across the Northeast Ohio region who coordinate and lead their own employee resource groups at their respective companies, universities, or businesses. Just to do some benchmarking to see how we're doing, to see what other practices are promising and good at other places. I always tell them what we're doing at John Carroll, and they're very excited for us. I had the occasion recently to speak with a colleague, a staff person over at Highland Software who coordinates their ERGs, and they're an alumna of the university. And she was so incredibly heartened by our efforts around the ERGs, as well as our new Vice President for Inclusive Excellence position. So she was really grateful and excited to speak with me about that. And then the last update that we have is that, as was alluded earlier, with some restructuring for staff council, the portfolio for leading and coordinating the employee resource groups will transition to our inaugural vice chair for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Angela Kruger and I met last week to do a little bit of transition, but what a wonderful opportunity for us to give the ERGs a little bit more attention. Lastly, we do have several ERG co-leaders who will be rolling off this year. So I wanted to take time to thank Chelsea Gerken, Bernell Neville, and Sloan Carville for their exemplary work the last 2 years in supporting their respective ERGs. Two of them have left the institution already, and it's a tremendous loss for the ERG community, but also for the staff community. But we are grateful for their service. And I continue to be grateful to the other ERG co-leaders who I hope don't roll up. For their work stewarding their committees, their patience with the process of working with me and each other to plan these events, but very much, again, volunteers, and tremendously grateful for their efforts to support staff colleagues like themselves. All right, thank you.
One quick update. I was asked by CSSA to let you all know about a mission leave opportunity. Wednesday, June 19th is Medical Fund Day. This does qualify as mission leave, so if you are interested, it's a great opportunity to engage in the university mission and give back to our larger community in greater Cleveland. So I will make sure that this gets out to all of you if you're interested. And finally, we're going to recognize some outstanding colleagues for their achievements and their contributions to our general community. So, Saul, ready up.
All right, buenas tardes and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sala, and I'm vice chair of the recognition committee. This year, I'm rolling off, and so Nish will be the new vice chair starting June 1st. And I'm so happy to begin our 4th annual Staff Council Recognition Excellence Awards. My term, as I shared, is now coming to an end, and I want to take a moment to thank all the folks that helped make my committee a success. Some of these people were elected, and others just volunteered. And all of them are superstars in my book, and I'd like to thank them for putting up both of me. And so I'd like for each of them to stand as I share their names. Mary Ellen Riley, Mike Nicholson, Ed Nish, Maria Soriano, Don Ambrose, Natalie Calerico, Dr. Aaron Green, Kara Rose, who's in the immersion in Ecuador, and Katie Jansen, who's in the Appalachia region. These folks helped make this possible today, and also they are the ones that they handwrite all those postcards every month. So let's give them a round of applause. I want to also acknowledge all the folks who are rolling off, who were elected, and so for that I need the help of Brendan Nolan and also Eric to just bring attention to the folks who committed a year or two of their work to give back to the staff community. And so I'll read your names, and we have a little token for you all, so if you can make your way down. We want to start off with Brenda Bailey. Carol Rose. Logan Yap. These are all the members at large who are stepping down. Some are coming back in different positions. Our next group of folks we want to acknowledge are our vice chairs. So I'll read out your names, and if you could just make your way forward for your little certificate. And I think that Eric has a little. So Lisa Brown Cornelius. John Ambrose. Desmond Bailey. And April Smith. Eric and I are also rolling off. It was interesting printing that certificate. So now we want to bring attention to the folks who are celebrating milestones. You will find their names in our program, and we will ask those whose names are featured to please stand when we share the number of years. Our incoming Vice Chair, Ed Mish, will help me in celebrating each of you.
Thanks, Salo. My name is Ed Mish, and I'm going to be the new vice chair of education, like we've said 3 times now. It's still true. I work in the Department of Theology and Religious Studies, and the first folks we want to recognize today are staff who have been with us for 5 years. So you can see their names up on the board. So if all of you could rise, please.
We now want to recognize the folks who have been with us for 10 years. So we invite these folks to please stand together and be collectively recognized. So if your name
Next, we want to recognize staff who have been with us for 15 years. We invite the staff members to please rise and be recognized.
Now we want to recognize the folks who have been with us for 20 years. We invite these folks to please stand and be recognized.
Next, we're going to recognize the staff members who have been with us for 25 years. Yes, and notice them, but you can't notice them enough.
Yeah.
So you all can rise one more time.
And then we have one special staff member who's been with us for 30 years, and his name is Lemoyne Porter from the Mathematics and Computer Science Department. I invite Lemoyne, if he's here, to please stand. So he's not here, but he works in this building, so how about we clap him really loud? All right. It is now time for us to announce the Staff Council Recognition of Excellence Awards. This year's selection process was very difficult again. We received a total of 27 nominations and had 18 unique nominees this year. It is always an honor for the recognition committee and me to read, learn, and admire the work of so many of you who do so much in front of and behind the scenes. For this reason, our committee selected the theme of bees this year. Bees are famous for being industrious, and the comparison of busy people to bees goes back to antiquity. If the ancient world isn't your thing, this year's nominees are all bees mates. This is from the 1920s for something stylish and excellent, and this captures exactly who our nominees are today. I'd like for all of those who are nominated, so all of you who have a little boutonniere, to please stand and be collectively recognized right now. One of the toughest jobs for our committee is to select only 4 recipients each year, and the time has come for us to do just that, and Ed will announce the first award.
The first award is the St. Ignatius of Loyola Leadership Award. This award recognizes outstanding leadership provided by a member of the John Carroll University community. While this individual doesn't necessarily need to have supervisory oversight, they are involved with projects that benefit the larger university committee. So the nominators for this year's recipient shared the following with us. This individual radiates the Ignatian principle of Magis through her tireless work with liturgy and interfaith dialogue. She is celebrating her 15th year at John Carroll and continues to amaze us with her faithfulness and the care she puts into every interaction, project, and program. It only takes one visit to 9 p.m. Mass to see the energy and passion in the students. This individual communicates 45 minutes each way from the snow belt in Chardon for Mass every Sunday evening. She wouldn't even leave until 11:30 when Mass used to start at 10. She works with our presiders as well as the student collectors, Eucharistic ministers, and sacristans to create a worship service that is both meaningful and relevant to our students. Her relationships with Jesu, the Jesuit community, and the diocese greatly enrich our Catholic experience at JCU. She's a behind-the-scenes leader in making the Mass experience truly exceptional. Countless graduates reach back out to her after leaving JCU, searching for a worship community that can match the one they found on campus. Mass is a part of nearly every major university event, from student orientation, Celebrate the Spirit, Homecoming and Family Weekend, Alumni Weekend, Celebration Day, and Baccalaureate. And this individual's presence makes everyone feel welcome and comfortable, Catholics and non-Catholics alike. Gail is the quiet leader behind so much of what goes on at JCU. She embodies our mission by being a woman for and with others in her own fierce and loving way. This year's recipient is Gail Rusi, Associate Director of Kansas. I was actually out of town, but John's gonna.
You have to imagine me much smaller and scary.
Congratulations to Gail and John on her behalf. I will now invite Mary Ellen Riley to present our second award.
Thank you, Ed. I will be presenting the Archbishop John Carroll Award for Learning. This award recognizes the contributions of a staff member to the educational pursuits of John Carroll University students, staff, and faculty. This individual enhances learning through innovative programs and initiatives that pertain to members of the university community. The nominators for this year's recipient shared the following with us. This individual is overdue in terms of recognition for her exceptional efforts to educate students at John Carroll University. She has been teaching labs for 27 years, and her responsibilities as the lab coordinator are to effectively instruct 130 to 160 students in laboratory each week and supervise 16 to 20 student teaching assistants. The success of chemistry graduates when they enter a chemistry or biochemistry graduate program, or their first position in the chemical industry, or even a health professions program, can be traced back to the initial lab course they took, and how that set a solid foundation for the lab skills they learned throughout our program. Moreover, this individual is not required to advise first-year students, but has been involved in the cohort advising program for a number of years. She has encouraged many of her students, many of which are women, to become chemistry majors, and some of those students become TAs in general or organic chemistry lab. To her TAs, she is one of the best role models, but more importantly, a mentor. Several of the TAs that have gone on to become high school teachers cut their chops in general chemistry lab and actually had their passion to teach, develop, and bloom with this individual's support. During the 2000s, this individual developed the Chemistry for Kids camp that she ran for 11 years with the help of many chemistry faculty. The goal was to instill the excitement and love of science in 5th through 7th graders. Each day, students would take home something that they made or observations on an experiment that was spectacular. Faith never took a salary, and this type of service is what JCU promotes and values. Finally, one of her students shared, "The conversations I had with Faith and the skills I gained from her teaching have greatly helped build my confidence. As her student and teaching assistant, I have seen her make learning an enjoyable experience for everyone." This year's recipient is Faith Whitworth, Laboratory Coordinator. Congratulations, Faith. I now invite our colleague Mike Nicholson to present our third award.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. My name is Mike Nicholson, and I will be returning next year as member at large in the recognition committee. I also work in the facilities department. I will be presenting the new staff member of the year. This award recognizes the contributions and accomplishments of a staff member who has between 1 and 3 years of service to John Carroll University. This individual consistently exemplifies the university's mission through integrity, collaboration, respect, and customer service, while exhibiting continuous improvement, professionalism, and Blue Streaks pride. The nominators for this year's recipient shared the following with us. This individual has the work ethic of someone who grew up on a farm, the writing skills of a former English teacher, the service mentality of someone who worked in retail, and the human perspective of someone who has raised 2 sons. She has done all of these things. Within a couple of months of being hired, this individual transformed the physical space of their office and workroom into a pleasant, professional environment. She exhibits exacting standards for her own work and for the quality of those around her. She is scrupulous with the budget. Not a misallocated penny escapes her notice. She follows protocol to a T and is not hesitant to point out politely but firmly areas for improvement all around her. If she sees something that is not right ethically or factually, she will take the appropriate steps to address this issue. During spring break last year, having only worked here for 6 months, she served as one of the staff members at a campus ministry immersion experience in Louisville, Kentucky. At the start of the week, the second staff member on the trip suddenly advocated all chaperoning responsibilities, leaving this individual as the only responsible adult with a group of students. The university was very fortunate that this individual was there because she handled everything. One nominator shared, "Through Brendan's presence, I have come to understand the difference between a group of people and a community. A community requires people to establish and maintain ties between its members. Brenda has been that person for us in the department, and I am truly grateful for the magic she has worked in this area in particular. This year's recipient is Brenda Bailey, Administrative Assistant. Administrative Assistant to Classical and Modern Languages and Culture.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike. I'll be presenting our last award. This is the Staff Member of the Year Award. This award recognizes the ongoing contributions and the significant impact of a staff member who has a minimum of 4 years of service to John Kerr University. This individual exemplifies the university's mission through their outstanding customer service, respect for their colleagues, collaboration, integrity, and students' pride. The nominators for this year's recipient share the following with us. This individual is the face of her department, often the first person a visitor or new student meets when they enter the department. In the moment of initial contact, this individual is simply charismatic. She's warm, smiling, welcoming, and instantly helpful. She has a particularly soft spot in her heart for students who like her instantly and often return to talk to her. She is particularly sympathetic to students in need, those who are anxious, stressed, desperate, or even angry. She calms them quickly and sets about helping them to solve their problems. Whenever a member of the department, whether they are faculty or a student, is speaking or representing their work, for example, at a regular scholarly lecture, she is there to listen, provide encouragement, and learn. This individual collaborates wonderfully in both public and private capacities. On the public side, she has a hand in managing every major division of a large, multifaceted department. Let's start with the core, the writing program, the English major with its 3 tracks, the master's program, the writing center, the Hopkins chair, the reading series, the Carroll Review. Innumerable students testify to Anna's dedication to their learning, their journey through JCU and the English department, and to being a woman for and with others. She embodies service as she caters to students' needs, takes a genuine interest in them and their well-being, and helps them navigate their major. Anna's warm smile is the front door to the English department, but her extraordinary skills lay the foundation for student success and hold up the walls that allow faculty members to do their job. This year's recipient is Anna Hosavada. Congratulations, Anna. And to all of the winners, you do receive a stipend. So do come see me afterwards. I need your information. I now invite our staff council's incoming chair, Eddie Carrion, to share some closing thoughts.
Also, if you are one of the award recipients afterwards, if you please come forward to have your photo taken, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you. I don't think it'd be right to adjourn our meeting unless we took some time to recognize Eric Eichhoff, who is the outgoing chair of staff council. As the incoming chair, it's a privilege for me to just take a few moments to recognize Eric's contributions to staff council. Eric's been committed, has been a committed member of staff council even before its founding 5 years ago. He was part of a group of colleagues who were invited to discern what would be the most effective model for a staff organization like ourselves. And he was also part of the group that would go on to create what would be our Constitution. Eric was a member of the inaugural class of elected representatives serving as the then vice chair for staff recognition and community building. This committee was responsible for creating the current structure of the staff recognition and excellence awards that we have today. Following his 2-year term, glutton for punishment, he was elected to the newly created vice chair for community building and networking position, which under his leadership, that committee established our current signature monthly events. As chair-elect last year, Eric worked in collaboration with Salo and others to oversee the implementation of our long-awaited employee resource groups in its pilot year. He worked diligently to identify and train ERG co-leaders in best supporting this very important initiative on our campus. As chair, Eric's done tremendous work to broaden the scope of staff council's voice and advocacy. A few achievements this last year include securing a 3-year budget for staff council and its initiatives, strengthening staff representation on university committees, advocating for the ERG's inclusion as a critical tactic in the strategic plan, reaffirming our commitment to an inclusive campus community by way of staff council's statement in November, and also creating a new vice chair position to begin next year to focus and elevate efforts around diversity, equity, and inclusion. Moreover, as a leader of the executive committee of staff council, Eric's been an active listener, a consensus builder, a constant source of support and encouragement. Eric's service to staff council is marked by advocacy, innovation, inaugurating a whole bunch of things, and also a deep concern for the overall health of the university. We're indebted to you, Eric. Selfishly, I'm grateful that the Constitution compels you to stay another year, ex officio. I look forward to our weekly meetings that you don't know about yet. But more importantly, thank you very much, Eric, for your dedicated service and commitment. Please join me in welcoming back to the stage and honoring Eric Eichhoff. The executive committee of the staff appreciation for Eric. It's a gift that we think you would really like. Yeah.
Okay.
Eric really likes Legos. We got him a ship. Unless Eric, do you want to say anything else? I'm good. We want to say thank you very much on behalf of the members of staff council. Oh, actually, we have a few reminders, actually. Don't forget that even in the summertime, we do have Blue and Gold Day, right? So spirit wear, I mean, I think we've gotten really good at it at John Carroll over the years, but we continue to do it in the summertime. Okay, and that's it. I did want to say again, thank you very much on behalf of staff council, your elected representatives, for being with us to celebrate our wonderful colleagues and celebrate the end of the year. Please do join us in the O'Connell Reading Room for refreshment with light snacks and drinks, and obviously fellowship. Have a good afternoon, everybody.